Welcome to Inside the Issues. My name is Amrit Singh. It is now fewer than 50 days until the World Cup kicks off in North America, with 14 of those matches scheduled to be right here in California. For fans of the beautiful game, it's a chance to see some of the sport's biggest stars, some outright legends, and national teams living out long-held rivalries in an attempt at sporting immortality. It's not dramatic at all. Of those 14 California matches, 8 are set for LA County, with the U.S. men's team opener at SoFi Stadium in Inglewood on June 12th. 6 matches are set for Levi's Stadium in the Bay Area. Of course, the stakes are incredibly high, not just for the nations who are playing, given geopolitical events and increasingly complicated times around the globe and here in our country. FIFA awarded the games in 2018, and culture wars and actual wars have broken out since. And it seems every week there's a new addition to the list of concerns for the Cup to be not just a success, but solvent for local governments. Take a look at some of them right here, including high ticket costs, dynamic pricing, a big conversation. A lot of folks pretty upset about what they've been seeing, the sticker shock that they've been getting from some of the queues and the wait lines and wait times, and finally seeing a big cost for that ticket on the FIFA sites. Geopolitics, as I mentioned, including the war with Iran and what that means for the Iran national team and their matches here in the United States. There's security concerns with funds from the federal government and local jurisdictions saying, what do we do about that? There are labor issues, as we've seen at SoFi Stadium, which we can speak about in just a moment, and also immigration enforcements and what that might mean and look like at these various venues. And then, of course, the political battles that come with that. Joining us now is someone who's written extensively on all of this, the preparations, the build-up, the politics, the finances. It's political reporter Daniel Miller. Daniel, it's great to have you back, especially as someone who's been to a previous World Cup. I know this is also near to your heart.
That's right. Thanks so much for having me. I was at the 1994 World Cup here in LA. I'm excited to run it back.
Yeah, well, we have to see how it all goes, and I'm excited for you to get to those matches. And you mentioned, in fact, that some of those matches involve Iran, and that just immediately gives us a sense of the conditionality of what we might see with the Iran national team and the geopolitics of it. I also mentioned some of the finances. I mean, where do things stand ultimately? It's a different world than when, in 2018, when North America was awarded the games.
That's right. You know, over the last decade or so, a lot has changed in this country as we prepare to host this World Cup, with 78 matches unfolding in the United States. The geopolitical issues are ones that maybe could not have been foreseen. The war with Iran has certainly complicated the picture. And until that Iranian team touches down on U.S. soil and plays its first match, I think there are going to be question marks. I have tickets to 2 of Iran's matches here in Los Angeles at SoFi Stadium. I certainly hope those games will happen. And I think the large Iranian diaspora here in Los Angeles hope so too. I think the team could be celebrated by locals, assuming it's able to make it here.
You know, Daniel, Iran and Seattle are the cities that are hosting Iranian matches. Iran has basically said, we want our matches not held in the United States, which would mean Canada or Mexico, or we don't want to come. In your reporting, you say FIFA says Iran's going to be there as scheduled, and there's no plan B or C or D. And then there's been some conjecture, by the way, President Trump, I mean, others just saying maybe we get Italy in there, who didn't qualify, broke a lot of hearts, Italian hearts, for not getting in. I mean, anything to update on that before we move on?
Yeah, I think FIFA has telegraphed they certainly expect to be Iran playing its matches as planned on the West Coast. On the other hand, President Trump has suggested that perhaps it wouldn't be such a good idea. There are no plans afoot to relocate those matches to Mexico or Canada. As far as FIFA has said, it is business as usual. And I think that there is a hope that once this tournament starts in June, that some of the hand-wringing over the geopolitics of this moment sort of dies down so that people can enjoy this tournament. It's an exciting tournament. It has expanded to 48 teams for the first time. Of course, the American team will be the favorite of many stateside, and we'll have to see how it plays out.
You have this great line where you say, rather than offering a triumphal turn in the international spotlight, the World Cup has become a case study in the local hazards of staging a spectacle at a moment of global disruption. And it's so well said, well written, well reported, but also the finances of this. I mean, it's a conversation about $3.75 billion cost projection, $11 billion revenue, and yet local municipalities are worried about footing the bill for security and the like, in part because FIFA has some restrictive rules around fundraising.
That's right. FIFA has restrictive rules around fundraising, but let's get to the heart of the matter here. Some of these concerns you're hearing about, It's because demand is down. FIFA has given back thousands of hotel rooms to hotel operators across the country because demand has been softer than expected. And different municipalities, different states are looking around and saying, this may not be the cash cow that we hoped, and we do not want to get stuck with the bill. And that's why you're seeing things like train ticket prices being raised to eye-watering levels, right? Something like $150 for a round-trip ticket from New York to New Jersey if you want to go see a game at MetLife Stadium. And these prices have gotten people's attention, that's for sure.
Another figure who's getting a lot of people's attention is the president of FIFA, Gianni Infantino, who previous to this World Cup cycle was known very well to international soccer fans, perhaps not to those in politics and otherwise, but he's become an interesting guy on a global level, including for his relationship to President Trump. In fact, let's just watch him with President Trump right here.
Presidents of countries, and then those who win, can touch it because it's for winners only. And since you are a winner, of course, you can as well touch it. It's pretty heavy. Yeah. It's the winner trophy. The last one who lifted that is Lionel Messi of Argentina. And here it is in the Oval Office in the White House.
That's Gianni Infantino, understanding President Trump's love language, let's say. What kind of a figure is Infantino, and how does he factor into everything that we're talking about?
Look, I think it's fair to say that Infantino has sought to curry favor with President Trump, and we can simply point to the Peace Prize that Infantino presented to the president last year. It certainly pleased Trump. He talked about how this was such a great honor for him. And I think Infantino understands that Trump's support could grease the rails come June. If you have a President Trump who is engaged in this tournament, whether it's via social media or in person, we do expect him to attend one of the matches in New Jersey. You have a president who is not poo-pooing your global mega event and not drawing negative publicity to it. And I think Infantino has been working hard over the last year, really, to set the stage for a successful World Cup in that way.
Yeah, and you've talked about and written about the challenges for California, for Los Angeles that we see at SoFi Stadium with Unite Here Local 11, the labor union. There's concerns about ICE and immigration enforcement. So all these things are coming to a head, and we just have time for a moment from you on this. But you also talked to Hugo Soto Martinez, LA City Council member, who says this is essentially a test run for LA 28. In what way in particular?
Look, if this World Cup rollout in Los Angeles is botched, there will be a lot of concern about the city's ability to carry off a successful Olympics in 2 years. So if there are snafus with transportation, if the camera pans across a SoFi Stadium that is half empty, if people have issues with hotel reservations, there will be questions, not just nationally, but internationally, about whether the city is prepared to host the Olympics in 2 years. Obviously, the Olympics are a much bigger event than 8 soccer matches over the course of a couple weeks. So all eyes will be on Los Angeles come June, that's for sure.
Well, geez, thanks a lot, Daniel. As if we need the stakes to be any higher. It's going to be very interesting to see it all happen in dramatic fashion. And also, we're not even talking about the nations and the matches. I hope you get to go to those matches with Iran, in part because it'll mean things are better with Iran, and also it'll be a beautiful memory for your family. Thanks so much for reporting. It's great to see you.
Thanks so much for having me.
It's excellent to have you. Daniel Miller of Politico, writing about the World Cup. Make sure to check out that piece. There'll be much more coming up on that and more here on ITI. Stay with us. We'll be right back.